So guys, I've got a unique one for you today. This is an early 1982 VIN 10006, and obviously this one's had some modifications done to it. This car, the history on this, it was painted by the dealership that owned it. It was a dealership in Ohio that was owned by John DeLorean's brother, and he painted 2,000 to 3,000 cars in probably 5 or 6 colors. This candy apple red was one of them. And so this car was painted by the dealership before it was sold new. It's a one-owner car. It's owned by a guy, pretty local to us. I'll show you some more stuff here. Other custom things that it was equipped with the Long Island twin turbo kit when sold new. So we'll kind of do a walk around here of the car. This would have been old school lacquer paint that really. The great thing about this paint is it shines like nothing else. The clear on this thing shines really well still, even being 40 years old, 39 years old. And it lays really flat, so you don't get much orange peel out of it too. So it's a really nice looking paint that's held up really well considering the age. So kind of there's the quick walk around. We'll just do a quick shot in the interior. So this car was in here. The downside of a turbo car, it can be really hard on the pistons. So when they under boost, it will crack the piston lands. So what we did with this one was we completely rebuilt the engine, put new cylinder liners and forged pistons in it, and a custom set of rings. Also had the turbo sent out to be rebuilt, and these little IHIs it's a turbo with a ceramic seal that sees both boost and vacuum. And they're impossible to find parts for. I think these were out and back 5 times before we got the thing to quit blowing smoke and leaking, and it was kind of a difficult process to get that resealed up. So that's the downside of it. The upside is, what's more fun than a twin turbo car? It looks great on the side of it, pulls great, and it's a fun car to drive, but they can be a little bit, can need more maintenance.
Guys, we're here with kind of a special car. This is extremely early 1982, then 10006, so that would make it probably the 7th 1982 built. And we're here with the original registered owner, a guy, and he's going to tell us the story of this car.
Thanks, Mike. Well, back in 1984, had my Cadillac in for servicing at DeLorean by Cadillac in Lakewood, Ohio, where I used to live. And there in the showroom was a black one with gold wheels, and the lower half was painted gold. I kind of liked the idea. It showed up the car a little bit differently. It was different, and I always like different things. And salesman comes up, and I'd never driven the car before. I'd seen it and through auto racing, and I followed the progress of development from Lotus chassis and so forth. So he took my wife out for a drive first, and then I went for a drive, and I noticed, it's kind of quiet. Shifting was kind of quiet, and it lacked a little bit of power, but it was fun. It really handled well. The steering was tight. And so I went home with the car there, and got a ride back to the dealership a couple days later when my Cadillac was finished. Went in the showroom, same salesman comes up to me, and he says, how do you like it? And I said, well, can you get this thing painted any color? And he says, yeah, we could paint it. I said, I've always been fond of red, and I was reading an Auto Week where they were experimenting with twin turbos for IMSA racing. So do you know where I can get turbos for this? He said, follow me. And we went in the back of the shop, and this is the auto dealership that was owned by Charles DeLorean, John's brother, and then also run by Mark DeLorean, Charles's son. And way in the back corner of the shop, under a tarp, was this. I pulled out the tarp and I saw this, and I thought, that's it. You know how when you're in grade school you pin certain cars when you're little, and with almost like a cam type rear end and louvers and all that? Well, this was close. house. This was it. So he said, well, it hasn't been driven for a while. It's been sitting. We'll have to get it prepped up for you. And I said, here's a check to hold it. And I got to be gone for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I'll come back. And of course, during that time, funny thing is, though, I didn't tell my wife. So I was in New Orleans the week after and saw a little placard, picture of a DeLorean in snow with dealer plates, and it had things go better with Coke on, you know, all the double entendres. It was the only picture I had of the car. Because I didn't get anything from the dealership, so I stuck in my briefcase. Went home that weekend. Next weekend we were in Jersey Shore. We'd rented a cottage for the kids and everything. So we were having breakfast and pulled this thing out of the briefcase and showed it to the kids. And I said, hey kids, what do you think of this car? Oh yeah, Dad, that's cool. And he said, what would you think if it was red? And my wife turns around, looks at me. She knew. That's when she knew.
Oh boy, you had done something. Yeah.
So when I went to pick it up, thank heavens, the salesman comes with a dozen red roses and presents it to her.
Oh boy.
So that helped smooth things over. But yeah, it's been a joint love affair for a long time. She really loves being in it, and we've had it on actually on a couple of racetracks with since our one daughter had cancer, we wanted to I saw an article in Car and Driver. Rock Yates was putting together another cannonball, but this time a lot of the proceeds were going to cancer research for kids.
Okay, so we've noticed on this car, if Susie can zoom in on the plate, it's got a cool plate that says one lapper, and then it also has a decal on the front windshield everybody wants to know about that says Car and Driver, and that's part of the story of this car that guy's getting into now. So
this was the graphics that they passed out at the one lap.
Okay.
And kind of Car and Driver advertisement.
Sure.
And Stephen Wynn was also in that.
Wow. I was not aware. That's a cool story.
Yeah, so we both ran it together separately.
So you took like it was a tour across the U.S. basically, right? One lap of the U.S.
It was a shortened version. It was on basically the eastern part of the country.
Okay.
We went all the way down to Atlanta.
Okay.
And
hit a few racetracks then.
Nelson Ledges and Watkins Glen.
Okay.
Indianapolis Raceway Park, which I'd raced at before too. Formula V. And a few other. We also had time, speed, distance rallies in between. So on some of the speed courses, I didn't do too well because the second gear shift pin was broken. So I couldn't downshift very well.
Yeah.
So out of 88 cars, we finished 34th.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad.
Not bad.
And we raised quite a little bit of change for the cancer racers for the kids.
Okay, and we should explain to people kind of the who painted the car and put the twin turbos on it, because the factory painted no cars. They came out of the factory, all stainless steel, but the dealership painted this.
Correct.
And installed a Long Island twin turbo setup, correct?
Yeah, it was the first, well, I didn't know it, but when I went to a meet in Long Island, no, it was Cape Cod.
Okay.
Back in, I think, 80. Or 88, 90, somewhere around there. The woman who, Eleanor Rogers, I believe, has Island Turbo.
She was making the kits, right?
And she looked at it and said, oh, that's our original turbo. Because it wasn't polished, it was the first casting.
Oh, okay.
And her boyfriend at the time was meeting with DeLorean, Charles, to get it together to put it in. Because he did manufacture turbos for other different cars.
Okay.
So
and so Charles kept this as probably like a dealer demo or a personal car.
Right.
And then it was first registered to you in 84.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So one owner car, and these things are, this car will be 40 years old next year, so original owner cars are pretty few and far between, so that's kind of a neat part of this story as well. And you know, our story with this is we've had this car for quite a while. We did a pretty far engine tear down on the car and replaced all the pistons with forged pistons and a custom set of rings and new cylinder liners. And we had kind of some trouble getting some of the parts, especially the turbos rebuilt. I think they were rebuilt 5 times before they came back and were right. And then Guy had a few health issues, so this one's been, you know, a long time in the making, and it's, you know, it's nice to have it back in your driveway. Thanks.
It's so fun to see you driving
Thank
it.
you so much for everything you've done. You've done a remarkable job on all the cars that you've done.
Thank you.
I think they needed a little bit of something, you know?
Yeah.
They needed a
That does conclude this episode of DeLorean Nation with Mike, Susie, and Guy Avalon. We hope you enjoyed the content. If you did and would like to see more content from DeLorean Nation, please like, subscribe, and share and help us grow our channel. Thanks for watching.